For every award-winning production designer, there's been a director whose vision the production designer has articulated with his or her own style and imagination. It's a collaboration of two creative forces, foreground and background. So I'm going to take you through the repertoire of Martin Scorsese's films with particular attention to the production design. Here's one of his early films. The first he really got distributed was called Boxcar Bertha. And here we have the boxcar itself against the empty brick building, the worn, distressed boxcar against the pale weeds. Right there in our production design, we get a feeling of that Depression-era America that Edward Hopper articulated in his paintings, that the alienated, lonely, empty world. Even on the farm, where there might be some sort of excess in crops and climate, we feel somehow out of sync. This woman here on the seat of the tractor, there's machinery, but the machinery looks old. And although there are crops to be harvested, somehow the people's clothing doesn't look expensive. It looks worn and secondhand. It's Depression-era America. And so Scorsese really captured it with his set design, his production design, with the boxcar motif being the hobo traveling form of transportation between town and town looking for work. The straw on the bottom of the boxcar here, you have very young Barbara Hershey here with David Carradine. In the background, we got the pallets stacked up in the corner. The sense of disarray and promise being missed in a very fruitful America. Here we have the movie following Boxcar Bertha, which is called Mean Streets, which is the first one to really kind of separate him from the pack as a director. We have Harvey Keitel in a bar, very crimson scarlet, dark shadowy bar. The reds conveying a sense of hidden desire, dark sexual journey. Bars for Scorsese are his ultimate way of putting his set decoration vision out for us to see in his character's world. Here in the same movie, Mean Streets, we have Harvey Keitel in an office here, but look at the set deck in the background. That's what I want you to pay attention to. The detail, the ketchup bottle, the spike for the receipts, the old cash register out of date, things piled, calendars, everything has a particular purpose to give you that sense of time in the city. In the foreground here, we have set decorators giving us a different look, an interesting look here. We have a statue of Christ, a kind of soot-stained Christ on the precipice of the top of this apartment building, looking over the city, almost being ignored by the city. Salvation ignored by the city. This begrimed Christ looking over everything. It's a wonderful image. His next movie, less dark, was Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore, and we can see that it's a romance. We can see Chris Christopherson seated across from Ellen Burstyn, the waitress, the pinks, the pearly colors, the softness to the tone, and yet it's working class. We got all the guys there with their working class regalia, the hats and everything. So it's working class, and yet it is fluffy pink. So that's romance in that plebeian world. As it is here, we see flirtatiousness, and in another cafe, we have a very young De Niro seated with a very young Sybil Shepherd in her peppermint swirls of late 60s design, but it's kind of gives you this kind of pop feeling of people falling in love. In the background, we got the fountains of Columbus Circle, and then you'll notice the taxi cabs. We got that taxi motif. You make sure that's in the shot. But it's not so happy. We've got De Niro living in his own SRO here, and we can see there's no bedspread on the bed. He's got a rolled up sleeping bag for a pillow. He's got brick wall exposed. He's got drugs on top of the speaker there. He's got medication. Something's not right with the mind. We can see that's very well done with the set decoration, as is this classic, this wonderful last scene where we've got the grieving Jodie Foster in the lower right corner. Below the candles, this urban Catholic shrine he's set up with the colors that reflect the couch, is kind of pop colors there. The yellows and the reds and the blues. It's very, very acrylic almost in the colors, but the scene's so dark, and then the blood spattered against the wall from the suicide dripping down, being a bigger painting, more meaningful painting than the painting itself, and the bodies to his right. stage in this and imposes almost like a Caravaggio painting, and the way the garbage is all rumpled and squished in the corner. It's this cramped, trapped existence that's so much part of the picture. I guess after that, Scorsese needed to exuberate a little bit, and he did a musical, New York, New York, and with the four aces up there, you can see his motif. He's what the casino movies he's done is a gambling motif, and he's got the Scarlet Woman there, and the dark guys dancing like a Busby Berkeley picture, giving this kind of big show feel. Although it's always with that deep, dark red passion, as we see from the nightclub here with the neon in the background, swirling with instruments and zigzags, giving us a sense of energy. But in that energy, it's this corpusculous, deep, kind of blood-like desire that's the underside of the brightly lit 1950s America. This is Jake LaMotta in Raging Bull, which is the big picture that Scorsese started winning awards with, getting nominated for Academy Awards and everything, and De Niro winning awards for Best Actor. But look at this 40s, 50s motif that Scorsese has. He has it down with the set decorations. He's got the flowered wallpaper, the flowered couch, that weird stand on the lamp to the right, which is denoting, again, it's a little, gauche in the sense of this woman in a short dress and a lamp, so it's a little racy, underclass type of thing. And you got the TV with the rabbit ears. It's all so much of the piece of a Brooklyn apartment in the early 1950s. When he did Prince of Comedy, very dark movie about this comedian who doesn't realize he's not funny, in his own delusion here, in his own red, blue delusion, his own well-dressed delusion. And look at the people on the sides here. We got this almost Kevin of Dr. Caligari warp to the guy to the right. But it is just so well the way the set decorators juxtapose this guy's world with everybody else's world, and of course Jerry Lewis's world, who gets kidnapped, and there's Sarah Bernhardt sitting with him, and Jerry Lewis's weird Dracula lit candelabra apartment. Lights everywhere. It's like some shrine to his past life. It's a wonderful, golden, creepy motif that Scorsese brings in. Here we have him trying to do a comedy after Prince of Comedy. He's trying to do After Hours, an urban drama, very surrealistic drama. We got Cheech and Chong kind of characters here pulling out a Don Siegel sculpture out of the sewer and trying to take off with it. And like the sculptures reflecting the same anxiety that these people are feeling in stealing this sculpture. But it's a wonderful way for the set decorators to really get involved, because they got all these mannequins and they got people who are covered looking like sculptures themselves. It's a set decorator's dream. Followed by Temptation of Christ, which it's hard to get images off the net because for some reason there was some kind of blockade on them or something, which is another lecture, I guess. But here we have the one I could find, which shows that supernal light softly bathing this spiritual figure with the torches against that pink rock. A very soft feeling, a feeling of light. You're not heavy in the scene. You feel light. You feel almost without gravity. It's a wonderful, wonderful image. Here, back to his major motif as a gangster movie maker. Scorsese has Goodfellas, which was the big gangster movie that really broke out. He has Ray Liotta and Joe Pesci and Robert De Niro here having dinner with their mother. It's a wonderful picture of like that sense of lower middle class abundance. Got the grapes dripping out of the boat there, and we got the gold cigarette lighter on the Winston cigarettes, and we've got ice inside the Chianti. And with the floral pattern on the tablecloth and the wallpaper, again giving them that 50s motif, and then the inherited clock. It's like the heirloom clock in the background is precious. And Scorsese is so good at that. He does that here and later in the movie when we have the poker game being interrupted with a little violence here in the background. Look at the clock. It's again, it got the clock has got this kind of rock background, and kind of inset rock, like it's some kind of cabin clock. So much giving the sense of what that look is supposed to be. It's kind of like, this is the cabin for the boys. And here In the same movie, look at that wonderful early 60s, late 50s wallpaper. So kind of geometric, modern. No longer do we have anything like this. But it gives us exactly the time period along with the leather coats and everything else. After that, he did Cape Fear, a remake of Cape Fear, and here we have De Niro in his Floridian costume. He's basking on the Golden Coast here with his reds and his whites, his open car. It's freedom for this ex-con who tries to terrorize the family and, of course, gets terrorized himself. And so he balances, the set decorators balance the openness of the Floridian freedom with this cramped sense of the houseboat in the swamp. And so we got this dark, pale interior that's suddenly lit up with this hot flame. After that, Scorsese did Age of Innocence, which is an Edith Wharton novel about the Edwardian period, the turn of the century in America, and where we're talking about newly acquired wealth and abundance, and we have excessive surroundings of goods that money was spent on, and we have flowers again, flowers on the wall in the background, flowers on the table. Michelle Pfeiffer herself, it looks like she's just another one of the flowers bursting up in front of the frame there, as we have here with Winona Ryder in this wonderful shot. Here, talk about an art decorator trying to give you the sense of turn of the century America, where this overaccumulation of goods. We have the paintings crammed into that slender wall space in the background there. There's not just one painting, but there are about 5 or 6 just crammed in there. And we have flowers everywhere, flowers on the floor, flowers on the table, flowers on the mantelpiece, all reflected against the chandelier. And the dress itself, what one is wearing, it's got the flounces like she's a flower. So it's just like, it's almost as if money was this vegetable growth that was just swamping America, which can be seen in this final picture here, where we have, I think, just wonderful set decorators' vision reflecting what Scorsese wants. You get this woman where you can tell she probably can't even get out of the chair, but she's got this tea set that's just crammed into the tray. Like there's too many cups, too many goblets there. And the dog, she has too many dogs. She's surrounded by fur. She's drowning in too many furry dogs. And the drapes are heavily and overly done as far as the excess of drapes, excess of dogs, excess of tea, excess of pillows. It's just this cornucopia is spilling with just too much extra stuff, denoting that turn of the century America and its robber baron kind of look at the world.